So if you miss one of those, you get in trouble.
And how long were you in basic for?
The basic training was 6 weeks.
And you didn't have to repeat it or anything?
No, but they always held that over you.
What if you failed? You had to go back?
Right, and you can fail by not doing well in the classes, or you fail the PT test, which is the physical training where you have to do so much running, so many sit-ups, so many push-ups, go across the monkey bars so fast, stuff like that.
Alright, so after you got out of basic, where did you go?
I ended up going to, well, at the end of basic, they had their graduation and where they take a picture. I have to set this up. All you have is the cap, right?
Mm-hmm.
The uniform, a shirt, and a tie. You're standing there in your underwear, and they're taking this picture. And they do it for the parents so they can have a picture of their proud son in the military, right?
Yeah.
So then they post your orders, and it tells you where you're going and what your military MOS is, military occupational service.
All right.
Okay, MOS. And I ended up going to Fort Polk, Louisiana.
Which was?
Infantry. Which you don't want to be in time of war.
Ah.
So, I was there.
Fort Polk.
Fort
And
Polk.
how long were you in Fort Polk, Louisiana, before you got shipped out?
I want to say AIT was like 13 weeks long. And what's charming about South Fort, Fort Polk, it was condemned after World War II. Yeah. And they had an outbreak of, what was it? I'm trying to remember. Real nasty stuff. Someone came down with it. I want to say it was diphtheria or something like that. But anyway, it was a airborne virus. And they have a neat little idea. You get 2 sheets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like normally one would be on the bottom and one would be on the top. Well, they say sleep on the bottom one, use your blanket on the top one, take your other sheet and tie it to one side of the bunk, swing it around and tie it over here, and if you sneeze into your sheet. That's their idea of controlling, an outbreak.
Did it work?
I didn't get any illness, so, I was good to go.
I'm sorry, that's funny. So, let's see here. Got it right, 19 weeks now in the military?
Yeah, I mean, basic training and stuff in AIT has changed.
Well, you were in the military for 19 weeks now. Any visits home at all, or?
No.
Ah.
And you got in trouble if you didn't write a letter once a week.
Who'd you write to?
My mom.
She write it back?
Yeah.
Have nice conversations, or just, why did you drive me there?
No, I mean, that didn't occur to me too much later.
Wow.
It's like delivering your son into harm's way, for Christ's sake.
Wow. Alright, so, I'm sorry, you're in Louisiana right now.
Yep.
19 weeks. And then, anything interesting that you've yet to mention before you left the States?
While I was in the AIT training?
Yeah, while you're in the AIT, you're in between basic and AIT.
Well, AIT was just marching around in snakes and going across, learning to cross rivers with water moccasins swimming by you, and you know, they put you in a deuce and a half, which is a 2.5-ton truck, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, they treat you like, you know, cattle. They just push you in and push you in and push you in. You know, what was there? Close your legs, sit up straight, don't slouch, don't breathe. Yeah, it was one of the instructions you got. And they just push you into these things, and then they take you out for operations. Mm. And one of them was how to do an assault from a road into, you know, whatever. So you get on this line, right? Mm-hmm. And you're supposed to advance, and you got to stay so many meters away from each other, like, you know, three yards, okay? And as you advance, hold that line, you know. And we're going along, and all of a sudden this one guy falls into this pit. And it's a pit of rattlesnakes, baby ones. And he came running out of there as fast as he went in.
Did he get bit?
No, but I mean, you know, he came up a lot faster than he went in, I'll tell you that. But it's just, you know, they have just strange things, and learning to, you know, fire a rifle was part of basic training, and then AIT, you're just more in the inventory. Inventory.
Infantry.
Thank you.
Alright, so after AIT, that's when you were deployed?
No.
Oh.
That's when I went to Fort Benning, Georgia for Scout Dog School.
Oh, okay. And this, I didn't know this, that you'd gotten into Scout Dog so early.
Yeah, it was right after AIT, you get your orders.
Oh, okay.
And either after AIT, you either opt for more training, right? Mm-hmm. Or you go overseas.
Oh, well, that makes sense then.
Right. So the idea was, in my master plan, if I could get enough training in to be short 1 year left on my draft, they wouldn't send me overseas.
Okay.
Plan didn't work, but it was a great plan. So I was at Scout Dog School, where, you know, you got German Shepherds. There's basically 3 types of dogs: mine dogs, sentry dogs for sentry duty, and
sentry?
Then scout dogs. Sentry means like standing guard.
Oh, okay.
So what we were working with was German Shepherds.
And that's all the dogs that you were using? There weren't anything else?
That was it for the most part.
Oh, okay.
And what's curious is those dogs have more rights, right, than the soldiers.
Elaborate on that.
You can't work a dog 2 days in a row.
You can do it to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So they can only work so long, and then they have to have a break.
And why's that? There isn't an actual...
There's an army rule for that, I'm sure.
Alright. So, scout dog training, any fond memories? Did they teach you how to handle a dog? Like, if one attacked you?
Well, you learn, you know, basically how to, you know, discipline a dog. Or take one out if you had to.
Cool. Alright, so you went through scout dog training.
Well, an interesting thing happened towards the end
of scout dog training.
They have a thing that's called acting jack, and what that is you carry the rank of a sergeant or a corporal or whatever, And if you do it for 180 days, you get to keep the rank.
Okay.
Well, at about 185 days, they told me that I was no longer the acting Jack platoon sergeant.
All right.
And I'd been a acting Jack, basic, AIT, scout dog school.
Okay, so
So they owed me the rank, but they were trying to basically screw me.
All right.
And the military, what is it? The Code of Military Justice, their book, their rules, right, says 180 days. So, I sort of got into it with the CO, and I ended up going down to the Inspector General, raising a bitch about it. That's about the only friend you got.
The Inspector General.
Yeah, because he will go along with it, all right? And if he didn't, I was going to take the next step and take it to the legal arm of the military. And basically, that's when I found out that you have to get the Army's permission to sue them. Which I always loved. Yeah.
Really?
But I ended up being a sergeant, a buck sergeant, which is a E5, is your pay grade.
Okay.
And back then, I think I was making a whopping, maybe as a private, $60 a month.
Wow.
And then it jumped up to a whopping, after I got the permanent, well, it wasn't permanent very long. But anyway, it became a E5. I think it jumped to like $120.
Wow. All right, so you said wasn't permanent very long. You want to go into that one?
Well, that happened a little later, after I got overseas. But back on my training thing, now that I had the rank of an E5,
yeah,
I decided to go to Airborne Ranger School, which is in Fort Benning, Georgia, where the Scout Dog School is.
Oh, okay.
All right? And that was a lot of fun. That was 6 weeks long, and they had a very strange way. Like you ran everywhere.
You ran everywhere?
You ran everywhere.
There weren't any cars?
No, they had cars that you just weren't allowed to
use
ride them. So you ran everywhere. And what I mean is, when you took a shower, you didn't bother to take your clothes off. So you took a shower and washed your clothes at the same time.
Ah.
And then they would set up little scenarios where you got one meal a day and some water. And you would pull an ambush, right? And if you didn't happen to find your meal and your water, then you didn't eat or drink that day.
Wow.
Fun little stuff like that. And then they have a thing at the end of the training, and you learn how to, play around with explosives and, set trip mines and assault, all that stuff.
How'd that go?
Well, did I ever tell you I was scared of heights?
No.
Oh, well, I have a fear of heights.
Ah.
So why not?
Why not join the Airborne?
Right. Well, the reason to join the Airborne is you get more money. And after doing that, that's where I conned the phrase that there's two things that fall from the sky: bird shit and fools.
So, Airborne training went around. Now, I'm curious. You were Airborne training, but you were a scout dog.